All right, good evening. This special meeting is being held tonight in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. The meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation, at the link identified in the agenda that came out. Emailed comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the council prior to tonight's meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Mayor Shaw?
Here.
Vice Mayor Baumgarten?
Here.
Councilmember Cole?
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner? Councilmember Pasquale?
Here.
All right, and Councilmember Kirchner is excused. He is under the weather tonight. If you will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Maya Senga, will you please go up and lead our pledge? From the microphone up there, yes.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on our agenda tonight is public communication, appearance of interested citizens. You're welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action items appearing on the consent calendar or business items as the agenda when they are called. Public comment on any other item within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on tonight's agenda, will be considered at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Members of the public submitting written requests at least 24 hours prior to tonight's meeting will be allotted 5 minutes to comment per speaker. Repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinion of the group. Do we have any comments tonight from the public? All right, hearing none, we will move right along and get to the fun stuff for the next hour. Tonight, we have the privilege of welcoming Lincoln Elementary School's 4th and 5th graders and their families here tonight. Thank you for all being here. And Rachel, there you are in the back. Thank you so much for reaching out and bringing them. This is a real treat for us tonight. Tonight, during this time, we are going to give you an opportunity to see how the city government works, and let you ask questions, let you hear from our youth commission, and let you explain what they do, because in just a few years, you'll be ready to apply for the youth commission. And I think we'll end up the evening before we come back for our regular scheduled meeting with a tour of City Hall, if that's okay with you guys. Is that okay? I think to start it off, let's actually have some introductions of everyone so you know what their roles are. And we're just going to start in the far side. Would Mr. Chaffin, would you introduce yourself and what your role is?
Thank you so much, Mayor. Hi, my name is Shannon. I'm actually, if my speaker will go on, I am actually the city attorney for the city. So what does that mean? Well, it means there's a lot of legal issues that come up, and I help the city council and city staff be able to navigate that so they can actually get stuff done. So that's my role. It's super fun, and I really enjoy it.
Hello, thank you for being here tonight. I'm Diana Langley. I'm the city manager for the city, and my job is to implement the policy that's provided by the city council and oversee the day-to-day operations of the city.
Go ahead.
Hi, thanks for being here. My name's Mark Baumgarten. If you have a question, you may call me Mark. I am the vice mayor currently. This is my second term on the city council, which means that I spent 4 years. I asked to be reelected and got reelected again. So during the first 4 years, I was a mayor. This time, right now, I'm a vice mayor. I support the mayor when he's away. And my biggest role for the city is to sit back and provide some leadership so that all the things that the city does that you're going to learn about tonight, so that they can do those things at the very best level that we can.
Thank you. Mike?
Well, I've already introduced myself to you earlier. I'm Michael Pasquale. I'm elected to District 3. That's over by Yuba City High School in that area. It's the oldest part of town. As the other council members expressed, we set policy that so the city knows what direction it needs to go, and we make decisions on that, and then it's done and implemented by the city manager. So I'm glad you're all here tonight. Hope I didn't scare you too much when I went out and met with you in the hallway. I do know one of you personally, Mr. Artist over there. So he was one of our kids at our preschool. So welcome and hope you enjoy it.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy to see the youth here. You too. You guys are leaders of tomorrow, so it's lovely to see kids learning about civics at an early age. I represent the 5th District, and did I say my name? I'm Tony Cole. I represent the 5th District, which is in the southeast portion of our city. I'm the newest member elected to the City Council, and as was stated by Mark, we serve 4-year terms. And so for the next 4 years, I just hope to be a voice for the people and make the best decisions that are in the best interest of our city for the most amount of people.
Sierra?
Good evening. My name is Sierra, and I am the city clerk. And I wear a lot of different hats in the city, do a lot of different jobs. But my main purpose here tonight is to make sure that all of the decisions that the council makes are documented appropriately, that all of the paperwork, when they're adopting resolutions and ordinances and making new rules for the city, to make sure that those documents are prepared accurately and that they're kept for the required amount of time so that in the future, if anybody has questions, they can go back and look at those documents. So it's a big job.
All right, thank you. And I introduce myself. I'm Dave. I have the honor and privilege of chairing this council right now as the mayor. But something you should know about the council is there's not one of us that has any more say than the other 4 that are on here with us. We are not a strong mayor type of council to where you see on the news sometimes like the president will bring out budgets and things and do executive orders, or you see Sacramento, the mayor is going out. That's not the way that we run things here in the city. The mayor is the chair of the council. Meaning we run the meetings and the voice of the council, the spokespersons more or less, but we have to come to consensus, and there's 5 of us on the council and it takes 3 of us. So as soon as we get 3 of us that all agree on one particular subject and topic, and we've got motions and things in front of us, then that's the direction we go. And even if you didn't agree with it, you get behind it and you go with the majority. So does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Mark forgot to mention, as they were talking about the sections, he's actually from District 2, which is the northwest section of Yuba City, the section we're in right now. And I am actually from District 1, which is the northeast section. You went to Uncle Mike's place over there. So where Uncle Mike's place is where District 1 is, on Live Oak Boulevard, Queens, Gray Avenue, stuff like that. But while we are all the different districts, and we are missing Wade, who represents District 4. We may be elected out of the districts, but we actually represent the entire city. So anytime we make decisions or talking about things, we're always doing what's in the best interest of the city. So do you guys have any questions thus far? Because your teacher will tell you I'm good at asking questions and putting you on the spot. Okay? So where's my Dallas kid at? Where was he at with the hat? There he is, right down front. So, all right. Well, I think what we will do to give you time to learn a little bit more about what the city does is we'll go ahead and turn this on over to our youth commission. And I'll have you guys introduce yourselves as you come up. I've got all your names here, but you guys can introduce yourselves. And let's give that presentation and then see where we go from there.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see so much of our youth here today. So my name is Maya Senga, and I'm the chairperson of the Youth Commission. And that's the rest of our commission. You can see that not much of us are here tonight, but a good portion of us are. Our mission statement is commissioners give voice to the concerns and needs of youth in the city of Yuba City and provide great leadership in the community. And our saying is, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Hello, my name is Amelia Mullen, and what is the Youth Commission? The Commission makes recommendations involving a recreation program for our youth, foster involvement of youth, and evaluate and seek solutions to problems, activities, and concerns of youth in our community. The Youth Commission has 9 seats and 3 alternate seats. Commissioners must be between the ages of 12 and 19 and reside within city limits. That is why we have alternates, so that when we're not all here, we can still represent ourselves.
Hello, my name is Lyric Robinson, and I'm here to present who can join the Youth Commission. For starters, if you're the ages 12 through 19, you also must reside within city limits, and you can serve multiple terms.
Hello, my name is Sukarsh Gill, and I'm the vice chair of the commission. So as a youth commissioner, your responsibilities include serving a 1 to 2 year term. We meet on the third Wednesday of every month. We meet in subcommittees and ad hoc meetings as needed, and committees will work on special projects that involve city or commission business. We also help volunteer in our community.
Hi, I'm Maddie DeLanga. Our meetings start with a roll call, and they follow a very strict agenda led by Maya, our chair. And if not, then it's the vice chair. And we have a secretary who takes the notes. And then on the meetings, we review old business, and if anyone has new business, then we talk about that. And then we discuss ways to help our community be better for our youth.
Hi, I'm Olivia Sal, and these are some of the things that we do. We have the Buckeye Parade, and we do the concerts in the park. And then some of the other things that we do is the Harvest Festival or the Summer Stroll. All right, and any questions? Yes. No, so you actually go through an interview process with the mayor and vice mayor, and they will select you to be on the commission. And then in the commission, you can run to be chairperson or vice chairperson or secretary. Any other questions? No? Okay. So thank you for listening to our presentation.
Through the mayor,
Yes, sir.
if they were interested in applying, where would they apply?
So I believe it's on the website. There's an application to apply, and you just turn it into the city.
All righty.
So we only accept applications during certain windows of time. So when we are accepting applications, we usually send out notification to the schools. We put it on social media, and you have to apply during that window, and then the mayor and vice mayor interview everybody that submits an application.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
You all saw that it's 12 to 19 years old, and then when I was talking with you earlier, a lot of you said you were 11 already. So it is coming up faster than you think that you could start applying to these positions that we have open to you and make a difference in your community. Really highly recommend it for all of you. Could you explain to them what an ad hoc committee is? Do you all know what a committee is? Okay, could you explain to them, sis, what an ad hoc committee is?
Okay, so when we're working on a special project, we'll form ad hoc committees where we'll split up into groups, and then within that group, the ad hoc committee will focus on that specific project. So we were thinking about starting an event for Women's History Month. So we were creating an ad hoc committee so that we could think of ideas and brainstorm in that committee. So it's like a subcommittee to work on like projects.
Through the mayor, I've been doing this for over a quarter century, and I think that's the best description of an ad hoc committee I have ever heard. Congratulations.
Maya, how many terms have you been on the commission now? Is this your second?
Yeah, this will be my second and final term.
Okay. I remember when we interviewed you and everything. Can you share with them some of your favorite things that you've done on the Youth Commission? Because you've been on it about 3.5 years now, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
My favorite event is probably our Movies in the Park. So during the summer, we host movies at the park in front of Gap. So we'll have a giant screen projector, and we'll sell snacks, and we'll give out toys and like activities to all the kids that come up, and it's completely free, and it's so fun, and you see so many faces, and it's just a great time. And if you're on the commission, you're the ones that get to pick out the movie and pick out the theme and everything, so it's a lot of fun.
How about the rest of you guys? What's some of the funnest things you guys like doing on the Youth Commission?
I think my favorite event was during the summer when we did the 4th of July parade, and I got to be Lady Liberty, and I got to take photos with everyone who was there and walk the parade.
My favorite event so far was probably the parade, the Christmas parade.
Okay.
My favorite event would also be the 4th of July parade. I got to dress up as Uncle Sam and walk around and take photos with people.
My favorites are all the parades when we get to hand out candy to you guys.
My favorite would also have to be the Christmas parade.
Cool. You asked how you get on the Youth Commission, correct? And she said you had to interview with the two of us. I watched the look on your face there. So, are we that scary? So, well, guess what? Probably is the first question that we ask most every candidate that comes in to interview. What do you think that question might be? Oh, go ahead, right there in the red shirt. Maybe we should add that as number one, Mark. No, I think, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think usually one of the very first questions we always ask is, why do you want to be on the Youth Commission? Anybody want to answer that? Sure, right here. To help out the community, yeah. And you said my community, which is really awesome. Yep, you're right on that one. Okay, anybody else? Yeah, I think one of the most ambitious ones I heard, I can't remember if it was with you or Sean one year, that they wanted to be the mayor.
They wanted to sit where you were sitting.
That was what it was, yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
You guys have any questions at all? They can be goofy questions because we're kind of goofy people sometimes. So, who's involved with student body at their school right now? Anybody in your class at all? Do they have that?
This is it.
Oh, congratulations and excellent. It's good to see you all. You know, getting involved with things like our youth commissioners have done, like you are and like we're doing, you know, giving back is huge. If you can find a way to give back in an area that you are interested in, and by giving back, I mean participate and add suggestions, find out, you know, things that maybe you don't know everything about, but you want to learn more about. Those are excellent things for you to consider, you know, during the school day. You've got a lot to learn. I know that as far as, you know, your regular studies, but, you know, participating in things like youth commission or student body or any student activities adds another level of fun, right? It's usually kind of fun to do that. I know these folks, when they're on the parades with us or they're throwing candy at people, there's usually pretty good smiles on their face. But they have a serious side too, because we listen to them. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at all of us, we're a little bit older. And if you look at all of them, they're a little bit younger. And, you know, that's a segment of the community, a part of the community that we love to hear about. Because our job, as we've all mentioned, is to represent you, right? So decisions that had happened at the city have to take into consideration or everyone that lives within the city. Anybody know how many people live in the city? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, sir. Great answer. A little higher. We're at 70,000, but you're pretty close. Mm-hmm. In Sutter County that we all live in, there's 99,000 people, roughly. In the city of Yuba City, 70 to 71,000, depending upon who you want to pay attention to, live within the city, and that's who we were elected by to represent the city. And so a lot of those folks aren't our age; they're your age. And so when we have folks like the Youth Commission and others who want to get interested, we love to hear about it.
So Mark, since along those lines, let's just pick up with where I asked the Youth Commission. What's some of the funnest things that you've enjoyed doing since you've been on the council? Because we've been on it 6 years together.
You know, I think probably is, for me, it's interacting, meeting with and chatting with citizens, because I like to hear what folks expect of us, but I also like to provide the opportunity for our police department, our fire department, the folks who take care of our roads, the folks who take care of the sewer and the water, the folks that take care of the recreation department and the youth commission. Our job is to help them do their job. And I think that's the satisfaction I got. I was a fire chief here before I got on the council. And, you know, so fire's always kind of near and dear to me. I like spending some time at the fire stations and hanging out. But, you know, there's a serious side to being on the city council, and then there's a side where you're giving back. And that's why I decided to run both times, was because I felt like the community, the city had been very good to me, and I wanted to give something back to that city that was very good to me.
Yep. So along those lines, Diana, you're our city manager. You've been here 28 years.
Yes. So I have to, prior to being city manager, I was public works director, and I'm a civil engineer. And one of the things that I enjoy the most is I drive around town and see the things that I designed that have been constructed. And one of the things that I designed is the improvements around your school, because you go to Lincoln Elementary School. So many years ago, I designed the curb gutter and sidewalk and the traffic signal there. And so I get a lot of satisfaction of driving around and seeing all of the infrastructure that has my fingerprint.
Okay. Shannon, we're going to come back to you. You're an attorney. Always come back at the end. I think I like the way that this is going, because you found out that our city manager is truly a civil engineer, that our vice mayor, profession-wise, is a fire chief. Mike, why don't you, and then Tony.
Sure. My most favorite thing is the interaction with the community. And just give you, at any given day, I can be out in the city somewhere, and because I've been here so long, and I get someone that approaches me as a concern, whether we're doing something right, doing something wrong, and being able to give them the right information is really important to me. You know, in a few days, I will be doing a speech competition for Rotary Club. I highly recommend that all of you try and participate in that endeavor, because being able to get up in front of people and express yourself, give ideas, it's probably one of the single most important thing you can do for yourself personally, through your personal life as well as your professional life, whatever you plan to do. And I can't say enough for all of you that to get involved, of being able to get up and speak and interact with me. I'm an old codger, I'm an old guy, and being able to, like you did out there with me, and not be intimidated by that is going to help you so much in your life. And I think that's the most important thing to me, of being a council member with the responsibility of making decisions, which I have no problem making a decision, but being able to interact with the community and people, and being an active listener, I think is probably one of the most important things I can do.
Tony.
Okay, so earlier I was going to pose a question to you all. What do you think it means to brave the wilderness? Brave the wilderness.
Right now, that would be going through Feather River Parkway with the water up.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, taking on risk, right? Going out and taking on challenges. And so I would encourage all of you, just with this advice, it's never ever too early to start developing your leadership skills. And to do that, you do have to step outside of where you're comfortable. And so take the opportunities and say yes and apply for things like this, because you wouldn't believe how much things start to develop. So I'll tell all of you, I don't have a lot of experience yet on this council, but I'm a teacher. And so it kind of speaks to the fact that anybody, you just have to be a citizen who wants to lead and hopefully has the competence to lead and has good character to lead. But you can just be a citizen. You can be a teacher. You can be really anybody you want to be involved in American government and to help make decisions for your constituents. But in terms of what we've done so far, I think that, of course, there's the leadership aspect, but building relationships is really important. So I would tell you a little bit about my campaign. And when you're campaigning to run for an office, you're often knocking on doors and asking people for their support and just getting to know them. And so I can tell you so many stories about the people that I met, but they're forever going to stick in my brain. A 92-year-old man, for example, who came here to Beale Air Force Base by way of his service in the military, and he helped build this city, so we have to think about him and the young people and everybody in between when we're making decisions. But I've already been fortunate enough to go on a couple of fire ride-alongs with Fire Station 2 and Fire Station 3, and they were both just really great. I want to share with all of you that we have excellent people that are working for our city. And I've met so many of them already, and I'm excited for all the other opportunities that come with this.
Yep. Shannon, what do you do besides being an attorney?
My wife would wonder, by the way, I don't know what he does. But you know what? One of the favorite things I really super enjoy about doing this is I like to help people. And sometimes when things get really tough and everything's being difficult, it's nice to know that there's somebody out there to help you. And I like helping people, and I like giving them the information and helping them get to where they want to go so they can make good decisions about how we all can benefit as a community. And it feels good to drive down the roads, and it feels good to go to these places and say, hey, I had a small role in that, and we made Yuba City a better place. And I just love to see happy people, and I love to help people. So that's why I do this. One of my favorite things.
Awesome. Thank you. And what I do for a real job is I'm an investment advisor. I trade stocks and stuff like that. So you might hear it called a stockbroker, and I'm an accountant. So when you look across this dais right here coming around, and actually, Sierra, you're an elected as well. We know you're city clerk, but why don't you tell us what you like to do and what you bring to the table as well?
So I grew up in this area, and when I was a young person, I was counting the days to move because I wanted to go to a big city where there was lots to do and lots to see, and I always thought the grass was greener somewhere else. And then when I grew up and became an adult and I went away, I realized the grass is not so green. And I worked for a long time in the Sacramento area. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money in that area, and it was not very fulfilling because that's not my home. And so when I had an opportunity to come back to this area and give back to my community and the people that live here, it really was very rewarding. And so I would encourage you to keep an open mind. It's okay to go and see and do other things. You don't have to stay here forever, but I don't want you to be close to that as an option, because it is a really amazing place to be.
Okay, thank you. And as you see, out of all of us up here, not one of us is identical. We all bring different professions, different thoughts, different personalities. But when you get down to the bottom line, there's a common thread amongst every one of us that's up here, including our youth commissioners over here. And that's everybody wants to give back to our community to make it even better than it is. So, you guys got any questions yet?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ostrander, they might be a little shy. Are there any questions that you know that, yeah. Is there anything maybe they talked about coming before we met this evening that we could cover for them that?
I think just, thinking about how they at this age can be working as leaders to eventually be in your position. Just, thinking about how can they get involved in their community outside of this, of course, but maybe they're always looking for ways to make a difference in their school and local community. So I think if you could speak to anything you feel like is appropriate for their age group.
Who wants to? Tony, would you like to tackle that one?
Nervous to eat these so far. So
Do you want us to come back?
I can answer it quickly because what comes to mind for me when I teach middle schoolers and high schoolers, little moments of leadership opportunities happen all throughout the day, and it happens with every single interaction, and it's how you choose to present yourself and the words you choose to say, right? Like developing your vocabulary and speaking clearly and making eye contact. And all of these things matter. So whether you're interacting with friends or your teachers or people in the community, right? You might go to the store and the person checking you out is giving you that opportunity right then and there to be confident and assertive and maybe even go beyond to ask them, how are you today? Ask them something else. So just, I would say in general, every single moment you have all throughout the day is an opportunity to develop. But if I could just speak from my past experience, I think that reading, I'm a teacher here. I'm going to tell you all to keep reading. Read all the time and maybe start to develop your writing skills because all of those things go together and you'd be really surprised at how far those skills can take you when it comes time to maybe getting a job or making these applications for any of the things you want to do. The other thing I'd say is if there's summer programs or weekend things you can do, sign up for everything you can.
Want to add anything?
Yeah. So I think as I reflect back over my time, probably one of the most important things for stepping into groups and either leading or following, because it's just important to be a good follower as it is a good leader, was my time playing organized sports. And the reason I say that, and I said this, I have 3 boys, was because, at least in my experience, teams, whether it's and it doesn't have to be sports, but anytime you're in a team environment, it really mimics what's going on in your work life down the road, in your social life down the road, and how you get along with people. And so when there are opportunities to join a group or play a sport or become part of a club at school or something like that, those are really meaningful and valuable opportunities for you to grow as a person. And there are many, many times I reflect back on organizations or teams that I played on, and I just think to myself, man, I was lucky because I confronted certain things that I confront in my everyday life sitting up here as a member when I was growing up. So that's one thing I would say. Be an active member in whatever kind of groups you want, because I think that getting along with people and working with people and listening to people is very important.
I'm going to take it away from the council for a minute, and I think another group that might be able to give you some good advice, because they're just a few years ahead of you. Same question, Maya, starting with you guys. What advice would you give to the students that are here tonight that might want to be in your shoes in a year or two, or even set up here at the council in a few years?
No, I agree. Like, get in everything you can. Be involved in everything. In middle school, I was involved in the yearbook, in student leadership. And then when high school came around, I knew I wanted to be in leadership, so I started that. I joined clubs. If there's something you're passionate about, go for it. Start your own club. Take responsibility. And yeah, just every day, there's things that you can do and to leave positive impacts on people and take control. So yeah, just anything.
Anybody got anything else to add?
Yeah, it's just really important to keep putting yourself out there and apply. Like half the things I've done is just write applications, but they got me where I am today, and I'm proud of the things I've done for our community. So just keep working on that.
All right.
A piece of advice that I would have is to put yourself out there and face your fears.
I agree with Maya and Amelia. Working with others is a great way to get involved, especially helping your community. There are like organizations like Say Love. They have cleanups every last Saturday of every month. So the sooner you start, the better, because you can meet new people and form connections.
What I would advise you guys to do is just be nice to everyone. Like, even if it's just a small thing about being a small thing of saying, I like your dress or something. Just be someone that other people can come to if they're not having a good day.
Honestly, a piece of advice that I would have is to do as much volunteering you can, because it's really fun and it just makes you feel like a better person. And join as many school clubs too. It just gives you a lot more to do, so you're not as bored and just sitting on your phone at home.
Well, thank you, guys. I want to thank the Youth Commission, and the leaders of our Youth Commission did not introduce themselves tonight, so would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, everybody. My name is Justin Douthit. I'm a recreation supervisor with the City of Yuba City, and I'm also one of the Youth Commission liaisons, born and raised in Yuba City as well.
Hello, my name is Dylan Brown. I am also another recreation supervisor, mainly in charge of youth sports, and also a Youth Commission liaison.
All right. Two others before we move to the next thing. We've got two more of our team in the back. So, Ann? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank everybody for being here tonight and being a part of this. So the commission, thank you so much. You guys can come back and have a seat because we're going to go into the next business item. And Rachel, I need your help with this. One thing we get to have at the dais, sometimes we get to have a little latitude. And you guys feel like having a little latitude tonight? We don't care what the attorney says. We're going to take latitude. So what I would like for you to do is we need 5 bodies that will come up and take our roles for the next action item. We'll let you choose the 5. Okay. And tell them where they're going. Okay. Come on up, and you need to come to one of these chairs. We got 5 chairs up here. Who wants the center one? Oh, he's claiming it. You get the gavel. Okay, go ahead and slide up. Okay. We've got a little business that we need to finish up here to get us to the next segment of what we're doing tonight. So we're going to let you guys vote and take action as our proxies tonight. Would you guys like to do that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So for this point, this is the mayor right now. So you direct everything to the mayor. And would you like to ask, what we need to do is, would anybody like to go and take a tour of City Hall? Would you like to take a tour of City Hall? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we need one of you 4 to make a motion to tour City Hall. So we'll help you out if you want to do it. You got that one? Okay. Use your mic so we can hear.
Through the mayor.
And then
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to make
I'd like to make
a motion
a motion
that the Miss Ostrander's class
that Miss Ostrander's class
join me on a tour
Join me on a tour
of City Hall.
of City Hall.
You go, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I second that.
Okay. So you go, no, I've got a motion and a second.
Now I got a motion and a second.
Are we ready to vote?
Are we ready to vote?
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
All those in favor say aye. 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 Aye.
Okay. And you say, all those opposed say nay.
All those opposed say nay.
Okay. Don't say anything. One, ayes or nays?
Ayes.
So you say the ayes have it.
The ayes have it.
We're taking a tour.
We're taking a tour.
Okay. All right. You guys managed through it. One last thing to do. You get to grab the gavel, and then you say, we are adjourned, and you hit the ballot there.
We are adjourned.
Thank you so much. Okay. Good job. Thank you. All right. What we will do is, if you would like, Christy is going to go with us. We will follow her out, and we'll go right across the City Hall. We've got about 18 minutes. We'll work our way through and come right back in here, okay? All right. We're going to call this meeting to order. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. This meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation, at the link identified in the agenda. Emailed comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours prior to tonight's meeting were distributed to the council. And can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Vice Mayor Boomgarden.
Here.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner. Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
All right, Councilmember Kirchner's excused this evening as he's not feeling well. If you will please stand for the invocation by Pastor Greg from Adventure Church, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led tonight by 4th and 5th graders from Lincoln School.
All right, shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for the business that will be conducted in this chamber. We're so grateful for those who represent us in this city. This is not just the place that we live, this is our home. And we love this community, and we're grateful for all the many benefits that we have because of the great community in which we live. So we ask for wisdom, we ask for discernment, we ask that you would just grant these council members all that they need to perform their duties tonight and throughout the course of this year. Thank you for their families. Thank you for the city staff and all who have a part in maintaining the operations of the city. Certainly for our first responders, our police and fire and EMTs. Bless them, watch over their families, and thank you for their great service to our community. We are grateful. We're grateful people. We thank you for your provisions for our nation and for our community, and we ask your blessing upon the time together tonight. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mr. Chaffin, can you report out from our closed session from the last meeting?
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, as reported out after the special meeting on January 29th, there is no reportable action taken in closed session.
Thank you, sir. Is there any agenda modifications this evening from the council? Seeing none, we will move right along into ceremonial presentation. And I would like to invite Ms. Rachel Ostrander and the Lincoln School 4th and 5th grade students to come all the way down to the front right here and join the council. Come on over here.
Trying to tuck myself away
Well,
there.
I'm going to slide in here with you guys. Okay. We get to do a lot of things as a council. And I think for all of us, one of the things that's most important is we get to recognize community members. And tonight we have a very special group of students that have done some pretty incredible things. And they just spent, I believe this happened in November timeframe. It was before it. Yeah, about November. As the weather was coming in, this group collected over 400 blankets and donated them to Hands of Hope to help others keep warm in December of 2024. So can we give them just a round of applause? And so, Rachel, what we'd like to do is present you with this certificate of appreciation from the City of Yuba City for you and your class. And would you like to say a few words?
I just want to say it's an honor to lead this group of students. If we have any doubts as to what our future looks like, if these students are our future, we're going to be in really good hands.
Awesome. And thank you for your leadership and how you're raising up and teaching these young boys and girls in your class. If we could, you want to get a picture of all of us? Mark, can we bring everybody in? Come on in, all the way in. You can come up in front. Come on. Come on around. Okay. Come right on in. Just everybody kind of come in and, okay. Let's put the short ones in the front so you can be seen. Taller ones in the back. Yeah, Christy, can you take charge real quick? Okay. You guys go. Oh, okay. All right. All right, give them a hand once more. But do not go anywhere. You guys are such an awesome group of boys and girls. I reached out and called a few friends of mine. And I think we have a few people that want to come up, and they're right here in the front row. So I will hand the floor to you guys.
I was going to say, I'll just sneak on this end just because then I can see their wonderful faces. And so my name is Tasha Weaver. I'm with Senator Megan Daly's office. Yet again, I am here, and it's amazing because Yuba City, I swear, we started December 2nd, and I've been here probably at least, 3 or 4 times now to honor your guys' amazing community. And obviously, it's because of situations such as this that you guys are starting young and then just continuing on, growing in this wonderful community and doing fantastic things. I mean, 400 blankets, that's phenomenal. Thank you guys. So on behalf of the Senator, we would like to thank you so much for this large act of kindness. We need more people like you in this community and in this world. So please keep doing this, keep doing amazing things such as this. And so I have this fantastic certificate, and I'm really sorry because I didn't have an exact number, so I guess you guys are gonna have to share. Maybe you can take it home, like one night, every child gets to change, or you can just put it in your classroom, I guess whatever's easiest. But on behalf of the Senator, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation in honor of you all, the 4th and 5th grade class. Please give them a round of applause, you guys. So, and I apologize, our representative, Isabella from Gallagher's office, was unable to be here this evening. So actually, this is on behalf of both Gallagher's office as well as Senator Megan Daly's office. All right, so who gets to be the lucky? You can hold it.
David with Congressman Doug LaMalfa's office here to recognize this outstanding effort that you guys had collecting 400 plus blankets to help clothe the homeless over that little break there. Keep them sheltered from the cold. You guys are doing an outstanding job. We greatly appreciate it. And so on behalf of Congressman LaMalfa and the North State of California, thank you. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to all the things you guys are going to do in life. So keep it up. Thank you.
There we go.
And now you guys get to take another picture.
Yep. You want us all in the back? No, you guys can, wherever we can stand. I'm going to slide back up here with the council and... Yeah, congratulations. Thank you all again. And I know you guys just want to hang out for the rest of the 2-hour meeting or 3-hour meeting, right? We're gonna pause for a minute. That way, if you guys would like to go out in the liquid sunshine, the rain, we'll let you guys go on and call it a night. Thank you so much for being here with us, okay? Spencer, would you like to join us down front?
This is Chris, board member.
Hi, Chris, right?
Yes,
Dave.
it's Chris. I remember we've met.
Yes.
But why would you remember?
All right. If we can grab those doors back there to the entry.
Through the mayor, there appears to be a small child that wanted a picture with you, but I don't know if he's walked out the door now.
Would you like one more? Time out. Come on back in. Was there one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shannon. Come on down. Yeah, we'll just do it right here.
We couldn't let you get out the door, sorry, despite your best efforts.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you so much. That's the fun stuff. So, all right, now we're back to Spencer. All right, we're going to move to the next item, which is our Sister City Association. This year is really special for the Sister City Association, and this is our 35th year of the association and our partnership with Toride. And so tonight on that, we would like to present a proclamation, correct? Yeah, a proclamation to the Sister City Association because all this started in 1956 when President Eisenhower proposed to people citizen diplomacy initiative that became the United States Sister City Program, which today has grown to more than 2,000 cities, counties, and states in over 140 countries around the world. 35 years ago, a small delegation from the town of, you're going to have to pronounce that. Fujishiro? Okay, Fujishiro, Japan, visited our city to propose the building of a sister-city relationship. That effort of this delegation began a 35-year friendship with a city that is geographically and economically very similar to Yuba City, with 2 rivers, a small mountain range, and surrounding rice fields. Sounds a lot like home. So, on the 28th of March, 2005, Toride City and the town of Fujishiro, I'm getting there, merged their 2 communities, becoming the new Toride City. due to the necessity for the organized body of people to oversee the logistics of visits, ceremonies, and the business side of the program, the Yuba City Sister City Association was founded. Today, we celebrate the dedication and commitment of the Sister City Association's 35 years of promoting educational and cultural exchange that encourages interest in and value from different cultures. And so, therefore, be it resolved that I, Dave Shaw, Mayor of the City of Yuba City, on behalf of the entire City Council and the citizens of Yuba City, do hereby celebrate the 35-year anniversary of the Sister City Association and thank the association for bringing the Sister City experience to Yuba City. And I'm going to have you guys speak, but I know you guys have touched a lot of lives in 35 years. I've talked to the students that have gone, that's hosted families here. We've hosted some of the delegates here. It's an incredible program. So thank you so very, very much. Let's give them a round of applause. There you go. Would you like to say something? Or either one? Here you go.
The Sister City program, I got involved with it, oh my gosh, so long ago. And in the years we've been involved, we've hosted 19 students. And it was about 10 years ago that the current, at the time, president encouraged me to get involved with the board. It has been an incredible adventure. Spencer and I were just speaking. The opportunity to bring another country into your home, to become part of your family for that duration of time. And then when you go overseas to their country and where they live, and you become a continuation of your new family. And the unique thing about this program is it doesn't stop when they leave or when you leave. The continued relationships, and I'm sure you have some, of the families staying in touch, Christmas cards, calls, messages, watching them grow up. Our very first, well, not our first, it was probably about the 4th year we had it. Our young boy that we had just turned 30. I'm like, how did that happen? So it's amazing.
Thank you for this opportunity and for the recognition. I know that it's hard to connect with why do we need to have sister cities and why do we need to have these cultural exchanges. But just like we need to get young people into the great outdoors, we need to also get young people and people of all ages into different experiences and different cultures and see different things. And a man I used to work with right here on this property, Mr. Yamada, told me one time, a frog in a well knows nothing of the ocean. That's why we have sister city programs.
Absolutely. So, Christy, would you like to take a picture? All right, and if you guys will stay here, the next one is actually a proclamation going to Toride City. And I'll read some of it here. And it says, whereas a relationship was established between Yuba City and Fujishiro on November 28, 1989, to build a lasting friendship, creating a sister city association between the people of Yuba City and Fujishiro, Japan. The commitment between the two cities, thousands of miles apart from each other, fostered many new and long-lasting friendships with each visiting delegation. The sister city bond continues strong and vibrant with the changes of a new presidencies, leaders, students, and host families. In 2005, Toride City and the founder of Fujishiro merged their two communities to form the new Toride City. Yuba City and Toride City are committed to continue with the mutual understanding for building everlasting friendships, as it is a vital part of the Sister City program and embracing the motto, building heart-to-heart relationships. Today, we celebrate the dedication and commitment of 35 years of the Sister City relationship, which has fostered many new friendships, the joy of once-in-a-lifetime experiences, eye-opening way of life in both communities, and celebrate the future, new, and existing friendship for years to come. This is the proclamation that we will be delivering, Spencer and I, next week to Toride City. And thank you for the invitation. And as you always have invited the mayor to go on the trip. And it's going to be my honor to present this to them and strengthening this relationship going forward because it has reached a lot of youth in our area and adults alike. Just a note that we just want to be very clear on this, that while we've got an agenda item coming up later tonight, I'm going on my own dime. The city is not paying for me to go. I believe in this program, and it's not to toot my own horn. I just want you guys to know, especially with what we got to talk about later in the agenda. It is my honor to go, and I want to be there to support the Sister City Association on behalf of the city and the council, and I want to do so honorably. I know they have a lot of honor over there, the way they handle things. So my goal is to represent the city well and extend the friendship and keep this Sister City program alive and going for another 35 years. So we will be delivering this. Thank you. Spencer, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it on? Yes, it's on.
All right, moving right along to agenda item 4, CASA. Nicole, you have the floor. Thank you so much for being here. I know you've wanted to join us for quite a while, so we're looking forward to this.
And I know I bugged Dave and Mark a lot, but here we are in the official capacity with my good friend Katja, and we're going to share a little bit about CASA.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Katja Pollmann. I work for Child Advocates of Placer Yuba, and we're very excited to say of Sutter County coming up this year. So we will start the program in Sutter County probably in May. We just got funding. We need a lot of support, so that's why we're here. This is all about volunteers, and you encourage the kids to become volunteers, so we are here to encourage all of you to become volunteers. Okay, so CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. Our mission is to support the most vulnerable in our community and support them with a volunteer. CASA was founded in the 1980s, by a judge who decided that he makes really important decisions on the life of a child who has been in foster kids or is in foster care. And he just doesn't have all the information. So he said, I see that kid 2 or 3 times a year. Same with social workers, attorneys. I want one consistent adult that sees this child every single week and reports back to me and gives advice. So that's what CASA is. It's a volunteer that meets with a foster kid every single week, helps them, supports them, and then reports back to the judge. So they're the eyes and the ears of the judge and the voice of the child. Just to give you a bigger picture, there are 60,000 foster kids in California. California has the biggest number of foster kids in the nation. Most of them are in LA. Some numbers to Sutter and Yuba County. We have almost the same amount in Placer County. I don't need to say these kids have experienced severe trauma. It's the trauma of being with their parents. The agency, Children's System of Care, had to step in, remove these kids from their home. That's another trauma. They're called adverse childhood experiences. These experiences, these traumata that they live through affect the rest of their lives and their physical health. So they are not as good off in school. A lot of them don't graduate, and 60% of kids that are trafficking victims come from a background of foster care. Oh, Nicole, it's you.
So, and how we help with the CASA program, we are court-appointed special advocates, sworn in by the judge. We advocate for this child. We meet with them weekly. We give them a sense of normalcy and a stable adult that is the only one, for the most part, that stays with them through the whole time they are in dependency court system. We meet with them weekly. We try to do some fun things with them, just bond with them and mentor for them. If they need help in school, extracurricular activities. If they need some medical attention that maybe wasn't spotted, we can advocate for that for them. And so as you can see some numbers, I mean, it's pretty alarming, but we do, currently Yuba County has about 180 children in the dependency system. Numbers for Sutter are pretty close to that. We have about 50 volunteers advocating on behalf of about 45 children in the Yuba County system. Obviously, you can tell there's a deficit, and when we add Sutter numbers, we're going to need a lot of help. We have a CASA store that gives them comfort items. They can come pick out a toy. We have books, blankets, stuffed animals, just things to kind of ease their burden. We have a Heroes Fund, and that's really fun. If they want to play soccer, they want to learn piano, want to be a normal kid, we want to help them do that while they are in dependent care. Okay, here's our volunteers. This is kind of where I come in. I am the recruitment and engagement coordinator. So we have about 125 volunteers between Placer and Yuba that go through training every year. Of course, the majority of those numbers are in Placer. Yuba's are a lot smaller. Once we add Sutter in there, we're going to increase our numbers, of course. We have, like I said, we have got about 45 children that are being served in Yuba County. But we do have a big deficit. We have 130 that are waiting.
Yes, and we are very unique. So I mentioned before, there's a CASA program in every single county. Sutter County will be next. We established different programs, and we noticed that a lot of the kids that we served are not only in foster care, but they're also at risk of or are being sexually trafficked. So we have an extra program for them. Oftentimes, they're also in delinquency courts. So we just want to help all these kids, and we see a need, and we want to provide a volunteer. And a volunteer is really the magic. Those are our superheroes because they are not paid for what they do. They come in, they spend their free time, and the kids know that and recognize that, and they build this bond. It's really that connection that makes all the difference for these kids. We also have, people always love that, Canine for Kids. We have dogs that go into the court. Oftentimes kids have to be at court, which is very unpleasant. And then we have a dog there that kind of calms them down. We go into a different facility for kids. Dogs are just better humans. What also makes us different is that we have a whole family approach. There's a child, there's also a parent. The main goal of the court is always to reunify these parents with the kids, and we want to help these parents to reunify. These parents had the same trauma their kids often has. They grow up the same way. It's a generational cycle. So we have different programs where we help these parents, different just basic life skills. Again, it's a mentor that helps them, a volunteer. This is another of those programs that is, we just founded that one. As soon as the kid is detained, we help those parents reunify. These parents, you know, their kid is taken away. All of a sudden, they're not fit to be parents. They're in shock, they're angry, but they have a ticking time. Oftentimes when the kids are little, they only have 6 months to reunify. They have to get clean and sober. They have to find housing. They have to find a job. We want to help them before they lose their child. So that's another one of those programs that we have. Huge is Kinship Allies. If the kid has to be removed, first priority is to give it to families. So there's an uncle, there's a grandparent, there might be a soccer coach. All of a sudden, the grandfather is not just there on the weekends, but he is full-time caregiver, which is huge. We had just grandparents up in Truckee. They took in 5 grandkids between the ages of 1.5 and 7. They have a 2-bedroom apartment. That is a lot for these parents. They have to, go to school, keep up on all those things. So we try to help them. Oftentimes, in the first 90 days, these kinship caregivers are overwhelmed. Be stepping in with a volunteer again, help them navigate everything that's coming at them. Yes, so now again to you.
Okay, so how can you help? All right, so we do need volunteers. That is the main. We need caring adult volunteers over the age of 21 who are willing to be a mentor to a child or a parent. We need monetary donations. I mean, like every nonprofit, right? We have our CASA store, we have our Hero Fund. Those all need to be funded. We are not a government organization. We function off of grants. So we apply for grants. We have a few pretty successful fundraisers every year and private donations. So those are ways that you can help. And mainly, share the information. There are flyers out on the credenza out there. We have a Facebook social media presence. Please, when you see it, please share it. It may not be you that's a perfect fit, but maybe your neighbor, maybe your sister. And with I like to say, bring a buddy. So we have a lot of couples that do this. We have a set of cousins, which is so fun. Best friends. I knew going into this that there's a huge confidentiality, and you got to be able to tell my best friend everything, right? So I had to drag her with me so that she is there to vent to and such. Okay, so we just want to thank you for your time, for coming out, and please implore you, that's not the right word, please help share our mission, and let's let these kids have some mentors. I don't want a waiting list of 130 kids. That's just not cool. And we were laughing about, I don't discriminate. I don't care if you live in Sutter County, Butte County, if you live up in Oroville, Live Oak. If you're willing to drive down here to mentor a child, I will sign you up.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving us this opportunity, and we are very honored to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions from the council?
I do, through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Ladies, where do these mentoring sessions where do they take place?
When you have a CASA child, you mean? Or, yes. So you meet the child where they are. So oftentimes you can pick them up from school, wherever they want to go, depending on their age. Volunteers spend a lot of time at McDonald's because kids are always hungry, and that's where you connect with them. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We have some great local places. We have punch cards for Playseum. You can take them to Millennium, do miniature golf, go to our beautiful library. A lot of different places like that. We do have a visitation room. I know it's a contention. They call it a playroom. I call it a visitation room. You can bring your child there, play games, do crafts in our office. You just can't take them home, but you can go into their living arrangement as also to do your visit.
Thank you.
Any others?
How many, Nicole, I know how much passion you have for this, and it's truly remarkable. Katya, very nice to meet you. Look forward to spending some time with you as well as this thing blossoms into Sutter County and Yuba City. How many do you have already in Sutter County, or is this the kickoff?
We are not servicing Sutter County courts at this time. It will happen later in the year, but due to the foster care shortage, about half of the Yuba County court foster children are housed in Sutter County. Okay. And about half of our volunteers are from Sutter County. So I've been both sides of the bridge. I've been trying to recruit.
Good for you.
Plus, I knew once I got hired that you can't do Yuba without Sutter, so,
Thank you for the answer.
Sure.
All right. Nicole, thank you for your passion. You care so much, and it exudes in everything that you do and your passion for this. This is actually a national organization, and I didn't realize that. I thought this was something local, and then when we were back at our ranch, they actually did a news story on CASA back there. And I went, whoa, I knew what it was because you'd already, like you said, you grabbed Mark and I prior, so I knew exactly what it was. Is there anything other than sending people your way that you need the council specifically to do?
Advocate for us. If you see anything regarding foster care, foster rights, just please advocate for our foster children. We are there to advocate for the individual children, but we need you folk and higher level also to advocate on the whole for our foster children.
All righty.
And if there's a newsletter or anything and you can promote us, that would be amazing. You have a huge outreach, so that would be very helpful. Any social clubs you know, please let us get in there, and Nicole will be happy to present. I know she's everywhere already, so.
All righty, thank you. All right, thank you for being here. Yep, go ahead. All right, we're going to move on to public communication number 5. You're welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action as item appearing on the consent calendar of business items on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on any other items within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on tonight's agenda, will be considered at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Members of the public submitting written requests at least 24 hours prior to the meeting will be allotted 5 minutes to comment. And repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. Do we have any public comment this evening? Please, sir, go up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please. Okay.
Good evening. It's nice to see you, gentlemen and lady. Nice to see the new arrangement here of the City Council. My name is Sammy Mendoza. My address is 547 North Harding Road, Yuba City, California. I prepared a speech here for you guys. I'm going to try my best. For the past 4 years, I have placed my residency in Yuba City. I returned to Yuba City after living and attending UC Davis while working in Sacramento. I decided to return to Yuba City to perch down in preparation for my next move after graduation and the COVID event. I then decided to remain in Yuba due to the immense opportunity at hand. As an economist, political scientist, entrepreneur, and minister, I found it ideal to remain in the area and explore every opportunity at hand. In my time in the city, I've experienced one of the most volatile explorations into the depth of our experience here as a community. From local business owners, the police department, and local ministries, I've experienced nothing but hostility and stagnation. It is clear upon a common observation of our city that we are stagnant and unattractive. In my time at Yuba College, I came to the understanding that this county and city desired the return of its hometown college grads to provide them with opportunity. This has gone unseen and unreceived, hence our economic stagnation. The talent that decides to return quickly leaves due to fear of remaining stagnant in lack of excitement and opportunity provided here. I too have been tempted time and time again to leave and seek opportunities elsewhere, yet I remain steadfast in spearheading the opportunity for advancement in my hometown. I look forward to addressing this issue with you all in an expanded sense. I pray that we as a community can begin to utilize the talent that we have available to elevate Yuba City as a community of the future and a bastion for talent. Along with economic matters, I decided to address the council on matters which go unseen and ignored. By appearances from within this chamber, it is easy to assume that all is well in Little Yuba City, but things are not well. This is an urgent call to action for the City Council and Board of Supervisors. From filthy, trash-riddled streets, dangerous homeless wandering through our downtown areas, camping and littering at the river bottoms, to wicked police officers making me fear for my life as a peaceful resident of this city, county, and state, to then illegal immigrants improperly managed. Our community is not well. This community has become hostile and ignorant. I have various examples in my time at Feather River Parkway. This parkway was built as a community destination where families can go, enjoy their time with each other in full confidence and safety. Feather River Parkway is not that. From filthy immigrants littering the shores of the Feather River, dealing with homeless, to avoiding glass, needles, and other dangerous litters on my levee runs. This place has completely and utterly let me down, and so have you all as a council, unfortunately. Board and community. Not only have I experienced these displeasures, but my life has been in danger there more than once. I have been stalked, targeted, and assaulted before closing hours. On top of this all, I've experienced theft to where my car was ransacked and items of mine stolen. Do you mind if I finish? This is greatly important. My life was very much in danger on those days. And I think that these matters should be spoken to the community. It's not going to take much longer if you give me 2 more minutes. Sure. So let me just get that real quick. Then, to my greatest displeasure, the police, they who are charged with protect and serve, have done the complete opposite to where my life was in danger by the very police officers I called to assist me to find safety and support. All these occurrences are or should be documented by the police department, including recorded calls and reports to where I've also have video evidence. Never should a citizen of the United States of America, a citizen of the sovereign state of California, a resident, wrapping up now, and hometown kid of Sutter County and Yuba City feel endangered by the very police commissioned to protect and serve. No person should. This brings me to a poignant proffer, and I'll wrap it up here to the council and board.
One breath. One breath.
There is something wicked and sinister at work in our city, and upon my work as a minister, I accuse the Antichrist. To my men of faith on the council, I wish to bring to light
Sammy,
the
you're out of
reality
order at this point. I ask you to leave the podium.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, please leave the podium. You are certainly welcome to come back at a future date if you so want, or
Thank you
provide
for your time. I just wanted to address the council. These are my observations in the past 4 years as a citizen of
Sammy,
the
your
city.
time is up. You need to leave the podium, sir.
Thank you. I do not appreciate your hostilities. God bless. Thank you. I was just expressing my thoughts to you
Mr.
all.
Mayor, we now have the opportunity for other public speakers to come up at this time so as to not to preclude them from being able to speak.
Right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
If
you
anybody
to
else
all
would
those
like to
watching. I
have
pray you
more
understand
comments.
what is occurring. God bless and shalom. I pray to address you all again soon. Thank you.
Anybody else like to make any public comment? All right, hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we're going to move on to consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the council votes on the motion unless members of the city council request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Do we have any comments on public consent calendar items 6 through 9? And I do have one speaker's card, Mr. Phil Trainer. You have 3 minutes, sir, as you wanted to make comments regarding agenda item 9.
I'm probably a little bit slow. I will say one thing about the last speaker. You're not too bad, really. I think the city's done better than most people. Well, it's done better than I'd hoped for. So with that, I would like to bring up the issue of the Pioneer power unit. I came out tonight, which I shouldn't have, but I came out tonight because a lot of people have seen the mayor on TV and making a remark about Pioneer and what Yuba City and Sutter County may do. I received a total of 22 either phone calls or texts asking me what the numbers were. I'm not a specialist with Pioneer or anything, but I did on my own, help bring them up to the area. I want people to know that if we did join Pioneer, we're not going to receive a really large reduction in our PG&E bill. I went back over the numbers from Pioneer. I hope everybody can hear me. I went back over the numbers from Pioneer, and these are the numbers that I came up with. For the average household, and these are this is Pioneer's numbers, at a 15% reduction in your PG&E bill, you would receive about $7.50 a month reduction. People don't realize when you look at your PG&E bill, And you got three sections in there. You got a billing for transmission, distribution, and energy. And the only thing that Pioneer or anybody else can reduce is the cost of energy. I still believe the Pioneer can help the city quite a bit. When I first looked upon this thing, I thought it'd be a wonderful thing to do if we could bring in Sutter County and Yuba County as a unit. But Yuba County has nothing to do with it. They'd rather go on their own. I did bring up the fact that they could look at Pioneer, and they said no deal. But anyway, just bear in mind that the public must know that if we do join this, all we will do is we'll be taking a little bit of the revenue away from PG&E, and it'll amount to maybe between $5 and $7.50 a month. That's all that we will get, but it's worthwhile going into it. There are ways to do this to increase that revenue, but it'll take a little bit of effort on everybody's part. As I say, I tried to answer the different texts and telephone calls I've gotten. People, I don't think there was one that even had even any idea of what the reduction might be. So that's my 3 minutes. I will leave you. Bear in mind,
Do you need a little bit more, Mr. Trainer? Because first of all, thank you. You brought Pioneer to us. Do you need another minute?
If you would.
Yes, sir.
What I would like to do is that if we could bring in the county, the city, and Live Oak, if we can bring in the one thing that happens that is wrong, which if I didn't know about it, I would walk away. If you do join, and you have to join, if you did join and decided to leave and go back to PG&E, PG&E at a given time can invoke a quite extraordinary fee to go back in with them. But once you go back with PG&E, you can only come back with Pioneer after 1 year. So there's a lot of little things that have to be looked at, and it takes time. But there is a way to do this and come up with a better deal really than a Pioneer have. But you need Pioneer in conjunction with what the city has to offer. That's my minute. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Trainer. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Through the mayor, we really can't comment, so I would request at this time, if appropriate, we pull item 9 so that we can discuss.
Okay. Would you like to pull it? All right. Then we will pull item 9 off and handle it as the first business item and go back to it separately. So is there any other comments on 6, 7, and 8? Hearing none, are we ready to vote on consent calendar 6, 7, and 8?
Move to accept items 6, 7, and 8 on consent calendar.
Okay, have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Consent calendar 6, 7, and 8 passes and carries. We will go on to business items, and the first item of business will be picking up agenda item 9. And
Mr. Trainer, can you hold on? Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No, thank you. I didn't see. I was reading down my script here. Ms. Langley, do we have any presentations or anything that we want to make from a staff's perspective on Pioneer at this time?
No, we do have representatives from Pioneer on Zoom. So we have Gina and we also have Jake, and they are both available to answer any of council's questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Gina or Jake, would either of you like to make any comments before we open back up for public comment of this business item? We can't hear you, you're muted, but I saw the head shake, both of you, so no comments at this time, correct? Thumbs up works.
Thumbs up, and unless
There.
there's specific questions right now.
Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Vice Mayor, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Yes, thanks. Once again, Phil, I want to say thanks for introducing the city of Yuba City, along with Sutter County, to Pioneer. And to Gina and Jake, I had a conversation with the city manager. I was out of town all day today. I do plan to send you some questions, but I'll give you a couple of them ahead of time, so maybe give you a shot at them ahead. Number one is, and Phil, I'll have one for you at the end. In response to a fair amount of public comment that I've also received, I'm going to be looking to you for some more information on how the solar works. There are a lot of alleged firsthand experiences of folks that are in our community. I would like to have a discussion with you either via phone or via email in regards to some of those allegations and just make sure I'm getting the whole story. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Second thing is also when it comes to the actual rate, there's a fair amount of discussion out there saying, hey, and I would expect that this would happen with anybody that's going to compete with PG&E, and I don't and have not and likely will not vet who's making these comments for whatever their motivations are. However, they are calling into question in their alleged real life experiences that what is being represented isn't what ends up happening. So I'll share some of those with you and look forward to perhaps even more dialogue in that regard. Last is for Mr. Traynor. I've seen your efforts in addressing, and I'd love to hear your take on community energy. Community energy, to me, which is different than the CCA, is, at least in my mind, is when a group of citizens get together and establish a windmill, I'll call it a farm, or a solar array or hydro. And you have made a comment that, we should get together as a community, explore those. Are there other methods? I mean, were you talking like the biochar and some other stuff that we've had a discussion about, or was it the community coming together, citizens coming together for either a windmill, geez, it's been a long day, windmill farm, or hydroelectric, or others?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy that you asked me to come back in here again. I believe that I think that Pioneer got a lot to offer, but I think there's a lot of questions that haven't been even looked at. I think what you're talking about, Mark, is right. There's a community system out there other than Pioneer, whereby the community could come in and do it on their own, but it is expensive and it takes time. You could bypass a lot of this, I think, through Pioneer. But the thing is, what I get is that the public generally can't read their PG&E bill. This is factual. They look at it and they say, oh God, our bill's $700 this month. They don't look to see whether the transmission and distribution, what the price of that is. I go back to when I was fortunate in putting in a generating plant back in 1984 in Yuba County. So I understand what PG&E look for. But at that time, the distribution price for PG&E, which is the lines that come into the city, the distribution was around 7 cents. The transmission fee was around 8 cents. Now, the distribution and transmission really hasn't gone up that much, but PG&E have to find a way to pay for all these fires that have occurred. So the whole thing is, what I would like to do is, if and when Pioneer come up, and when some of the people from the city sit down with them, I would like to be invited. I think I should be invited. I think I've stuck my neck out on this. My wife says, what the hell are you doing on this? But I do show up and I feel we have to do it. Because you're not going to get any industry into these small towns unless you can do something about your utilities. And there's ways to help the city if we get if we could get a reduction in our overall PG&E bills. Or not PG&E, but our utility bills. I think I can add something to what you might need if you want to. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Yes.
Any other questions from the council?
Through the mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mark was talking about the question about the solar. I would like to be on that conversation right now. I think that's a very valid question, and I'd like to hear it.
Sure. So Pioneer currently has more than 42,000 solar customers. For those who are net generators, meaning that they generate more power than they consume, Pioneer pays a 1/2 cent premium over PG&E for that power. For those who are net consumers, meaning they use more power than they consume, or they consume more power than they use, those customers still get the same savings as any other Pioneer customer. There is no power purchase agreement required. We reconcile annually. Last year, we paid about 9,000 customers $1.2 million for their energy. And that's kind of the long and the short of it. If there are more specific questions or individual customer questions, we would be happy to address those either through a bill analysis or one-on-one, or however it makes the best sense to you.
That seems very clear to me.
Okay, can I add one?
Yep.
Can I add one into this?
Mr. Trainer, please hold, and I'll come back to you shortly. Ms. Cole, do you have any comments or questions? Gina, the question that I have in regards to the solar is, and I think you guys are real clear in the process, is whatever we've been grandfathered in, whether tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, nothing that we have been grandfathered in, everything we've got currently going stays in place. The only difference is if we're a net producer, we're going to get a little bit higher payback, and if we're a net consumer, we're going to have a slightly reduced energy cost. Have I caught it?
That is correct. We are indifferent to whether you are NEM 1, NEM 2, or solar billing plan, which is the newest generation of net energy metering. Whatever you have with PG&E comes right on over to Pioneer.
Okay, follow-up question if I can, because it seems like this whole thing with solar and PG&E keeps morphing year by year. You know, it was supposed to be energy independent, and we could possibly, you know, sell power back, and then, oh no, we don't want you quite selling that much back. We need more money from you. Now we're going to knock you over here, and you're going to be on this tier 3, and we're still going to have you pay PG&E. I've heard differences of opinion for, and I'm not sure how this affects, and hopefully you can answer this, existing solar customers, because the panels are going to age and eventually need to be replaced, you know, for repair. Is that going to affect their tier status if they replace, you know, worn out panels?
So I don't want to give information and have it be incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that some of the provisions related to the panels actually go back to the solar contractor that installed them. In some cases, I do believe customers are being rolled over into solar billing plan, which is the newest iteration of NEM. But again, it really depends, I believe, on a case-by-case basis and what the initial contract states.
Thank you. That's as clear as it's been explained to me. The other, it depends. So it's that complex. So I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Sorry to keep you standing up there, Phil.
No problem.
So to follow that a bit, and number one, I think I fall in line with Phil. I'm certainly going to vote yes on this item. But I'm still concerned because there's a question, again, this may take some follow-up. As a current solar subscriber, I guess, if I opt to go to Pioneer and then I subsequently decide, this just isn't working for me for whatever those reasons might be, and I need to go back to PG&E, what's being alleged is that there's a problem with that to the end user. You care to elaborate on that at all, whether fact or fiction, or is that one of those ones that just kind of depends on a situation, or what?
I can't really speak to it because that's inconsistent with anything that I know. although I can't speak for every customer, and I think if there are customers coming to you and saying that, I would really refer them back to us so that we can help them sort things out, because a lot of times there is misunderstanding and misinformation. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, and I think we talked a little bit about this, was our exceptional customer service. So we will take as long as it takes for customers to understand their bill. I think sometimes things just kind of get mixed up in translation. But I can't speak to individual instances without knowing more details.
Okay. Well, I'm a solar person, and I want more details, so I'll be looking out. Okay. Again, I'm supportive of Pioneer. I think hopefully you know that. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. No, I think, Gina, that was the gist of where we're all going, is there's so much misinformation even on the current system, and how does it affect? Because I'm at that point with my solar panels are about 12 years old. They produce a whole lot more, and if I go replace them, am I on this new tier 3 suddenly just because I repaired my panels? So, and I didn't mean anything flippant by it earlier. It's just no one seems to have the answer. It's just really, it's that complex. And I guess we thank the PUC for that, I guess, is who we think.
It is complex, and I think there are distinctions between repairing and replacing, but those are all things that we would love to talk to you in greater detail about, and we've got a great customer care team that can help sort all of this out. And it's an example of some of the things we would really work with the community to educate them about before we ever even launch service.
Perfect. That's the reason you told us multiple times that there's still more off-ramps ahead if we decide not to go forward. So I appreciate that. Is there any other questions from the council?
Through the mayor, yeah, I do have a question. Do you have any experiences in your current clientele that's using your product in any of the municipalities? I'm sorry. For the solar, do you have any examples of people that Councilmember Baumgarten had a question about? Have you had your customer service have to deal with anything of this sort?
So we've been working through solar billing plan with PG&E and with the CPUC for several years, and it's still not a perfect plan. There are times when people inadvertently replace panels instead of repairing them, and things get a little bit out of whack. And we do advocate for our customers in that regard, but I think I would be inaccurate if I said that this was not at all an issue. It's not a big issue for us, and it is one that we work on behalf of customers to address.
Okay, so it's at a higher level that this is a quagmire at the PUC.
Yes.
Okay.
The solar billing plan is a big issue that the CPUC and PG&E and all of the CCAs, not just Pioneer, have been working to resolve for a long time.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? Mr. Trainer, would you like to make some final comments before we bring it back to council?
Yes, I think I can maybe answer some of your questions. You talked about the issue as to what PG&E might do to you if you left Pioneer. I would suggest is that, and I'm sure Pioneer know this, by the way, Gino, I thought your voice was coming down from heaven there for a while. The reviews that on some of the Pioneer pages, some of their customers were really irate at the fees that have been charged by PG&E when they tried to go back to PG&E. From my point of view, there's no reason to go back to PG&E because I believe Pioneer will always be a little bit less than PG&E because of the way the bill's written up. But here's some of the facts that people should know. Mr. Shaw, you talk about you got your panels in for 12 years. You're getting a reasonably good fee for your excess electricity. You're getting a lot more than I am. You're getting around 7 cents. For the ones that I have, we're getting 2 cents. PG&E pay 2 cents. I think Pioneer pay 2.5 cents. But of that 2 cents that I get back, if I get it back, if I don't If I have to go to PG&E for that same kilowatt, it costs me 54 cents. So it's one hell of a good, you should all buy stock in PG&E. But anyway, the other things are that there's other ways of looking at this. I got in on this when I went to an annual meeting of the CCAs down in San Jose. That's where I got going in all this. And I thoroughly believe that Pioneer is the way to go. Pioneer can cut a lot of expenses for the county and the city, but I think it's going to take a lot. People are going to have to read and do a little bit of mathematics. And you just can't sit back and say, I don't like it or I like it. And you're not going to get the reduction in your bill like you think you are. But you're going to put PG&E in the eye. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Trainer, on that, playing off of your words, thank you for your 2 cents worth.
Yeah, that's what's worth. Thank you.
So I'll make...
That and a nickel won't buy you way home, will it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trainer. Before I bring it back, I'll say the same comments that I stated in the interview the other day. We have a large section of our community that is on fixed income. And anything that we can do to save them a little bit will go a long way because they are on a fixed income. So if this is heading in that direction, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So I'll bring it back to council for action on agenda item 9.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Move to motion for Pioneer Community Expansion to include the city of Yuba City. Do I need to read A and B?
You can do A, a motion to adopt a resolution, and then read B.
Okay. Move to adopt A, and B, adopted an ordinance in the City Council of the City of Yuba City amending Title V of the Yuba City Municipal Code by adding Chapter 27, Community Choice Aggregation Program, to establish a Community Choice Aggregation Program in the City of Yuba City by title only and waive the second reading.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. And Gina and Jake, we're looking forward to working with you guys here in the future to move this thing along. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's move on to agenda item 10, which is the Planning Commission membership. And it says Doug, but I see Mr. Moody. Mr. Moody, you have the
Doug
floor.
is out sick tonight, and so thank you for the patience. I don't have any words of wisdom about frogs or dogs, but please bear with me. That's some good stuff. Yeah. So the item before you tonight is a multi-step process that this is the second. So this was before you a little earlier in December. And so here we're back to talk about changing the Planning Commission to district representation. And so again, tonight, it's really this consideration of introducing an ordinance that will repeal and replace the existing ordinance regarding the Planning Commission membership and organization. And so the existing membership is structured with 7 members at large with a representative recommended by Sutter County and then approved by Yuba City Council for the 7th membership. And so City Council, and so in a little background, 2024, the City Council completed the transition from an at-large to an individual district representation. On December 17th, the City Council directed staff to draft a proposed municipal code revisions to consider transitioning to district representation. And so, so here we are. And so Doug, with Shannon, they've put some good effort into coming up with an ordinance that we believe captured some of the input, the feedback that we received from that meeting. And so I'll run through these slides with the highlights. The proposed ordinance will update the Planning Commission from 7 to 5 to coincide with each of the 5 council districts. It will provide for a non-voting county liaison who may provide input upon election or re-election of a city council member. The council member shall nominate a citizen from their district to the Planning Commission who must be confirmed by the city council as a whole, majority vote. The Planning Commissioner terms will coincide with the city council member who appointed them. When the council members are elected, existing planning commissioners will continue to serve until they are either renominated and reconfirmed or a successor is established. A planning commissioner or liaison may be removed at any time with or without cause by action of the city council. This is also important. This one stood out a little bit. A lot of times we have resignations, or if somebody moves, that there could be a renomination for that area and then it would come back to the city council mid-cycle. A city council member may seek removal of their confirmed planning commissioner with a majority vote in order to nominate another resident of their district at any time. Annually, Sutter County may nominate a non-voting liaison who may provide input. A liaison may be confirmed by the city council. The planning commission may nominate a member to serve on the Sutter County Planning Commission as either a voting member or a liaison, and the city council must confirm the nomination before it's sent to the Sutter County Board of Supervisors. So those are the highlights regarding the proposed ordinance to repeal and replace. The process, should this go forward, we introduce it tonight. I see Shannon happy to advocate. And Shannon's definitely into the weeds on this, and maybe Shannon, you could add to how we transition, the transition period.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. So this is part one, is to introduce the ordinance and make sure this is really what the county, what the city council wants, and that they have a comfort level with this. Part two is actually going to come at the next meeting. That's going to be your second reading of this ordinance. But there's going to be a resolution that comes along as part of that. In order to effectuate the ordinance, that resolution will basically remove everyone off the planning commission and then reappoint them. And they will be reappointed and assigned to various districts, regardless whether they live in that district or not. So for example, there's some districts that have more people. They may be temporarily slotted in District 3. I'm just picking a random district. What that means is they will continue to serve on the Planning Commission until someone is selected from District 3 to replace them. And the thought is even if it's not immediate, at some point in the future, as new council members come on, people will be rotated in and out consistent with the council direction. In other words, with their offices, just like the districts are rotated in and out. So the next time around, we'll actually have a list of who's in what district. We'll present that to the city council to take a look at and the public to make any comments on. And then if changes are made or not, new nominations are made for those districts, then those individuals will be replaced out. So it seems weird at first to remove everybody and then put them all back in. That's one of those legal things just to make sure that we're clean. We've cleaned up everyone under the old ordinance and they're being reappointed under the new ordinance. So that helps preserve them in their offices where they are. And then it sets the foundation. As soon as the ordinance goes into effect, then council members can start appointing if they are so inclined.
All right. Any questions from the council?
Through the mayor.
Sir.
He been up in District 2. I'm
Yes.
kind of tired of seeing that area painted in red. I was wondering if my...
You know, we could make that happen.
Thank
you know, any color preference? No, yeah.
We can get together.
He likes Green Bay green, I think. So, Mr. Chaffin, question for you on this. I know we've talked about this because, again, trying to preserve the integrity of the Planning Commission and work through this. I mean, you've been at this ad nauseum. The initial process, wasn't it, this interim position would roughly be about 6 months is what we had talked about, but it could be longer, but to give time to go through each district, having interviews and recruitment from the district and then come forward. It may take 9, it may take 6, but trying to get it into a consistent pattern.
Yes, if we're talking practical realities, it's probably going to be at least a half a year.
Okay.
Probably be longer than a half a year. And during that period of time, you will have preserved your expertise that's already on the Planning Commission. Okay. Part of the reason is it's going to take, we're going to need another 2 weeks for the reading of the second ordinance. Then that ordinance takes 31 days to go into effect. then the resolution will automatically kick in. Then you need to go out, find your applicants. At that point, you're looking for applicants. Come in, do any interviews if you're so inclined. Then you'd have to set them up for city council meeting, and then you'd have to appoint them effective as of a certain date. I honestly, if you can get it in the next half year, good on you. I think there's going to be a lot of planning. If I were a planning commissioner that was concerned about my position for some reason, at least another half a year. This is one of the long-term things going on, or possibly even a year. So for those of you who are serving on the planning commission, thank you very much. So appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? Right. Then we will. All right, the public hearing regarding Planning Commission membership and organization is now open. If there are any members from the public that would like to address the council on the issue, please provide your statement via public comment. State your name and address for the record. Do we have any comments from the public on this at this time? Any comments from the public on this at this time? Hearing no comments on the issue, I am closing the public comment and bringing this matter back to council for action.
Still waiting on you. All right. Through the mayor, I'd like to make a motion to introduce by title only an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Yuba City determining the adoption of an ordinance regarding the Planning Commission membership and organization is not subject to the environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15378 and to repeal and replace sections 8-1.01 and 8-1.02 of Chapter 1 of Title 8 of the Municipal Code regarding the Planning Commission membership and organization.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. So this will come back at the next council meeting, correct, Mr. Moody?
That is the plan.
Thank you. All right, we will move right along to agenda item 11, which is the Aquifer Storage and Recovery Well, Municipal Well number 3, 2209, award construction contract for below ground facilities. Ben, you still have the floor.
I think I'm on the original list, but I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. So Kevin's the Deputy Public Works Director for Engineering, and he's really the expert on this. And since we're doing a little bit of swapping around, I'm going to turn it over to him.
All right. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Thank you, Ben, for covering me, and Diana before him many times. Thank you for giving me an easy one here tonight, hopefully relatively simple compared to the previous one. So item 11 before you tonight is the award of a construction contract for phase 1, which is a well drilling on our Aquifer Storage and Recovery Well project. Okay, just a quick background. Aquifer storage and recovery wells, or ASR wells as they're abbreviated, allow water to be injected into the groundwater table during times of excess flows, like today, for instance. And then the water sits in the groundwater aquifer until such time that the city would need it, say in a drought situation, and then we can pull it out of the groundwater at that time. So it's kind of a two-way well system. This type of project basically increases the city's drought resiliency, and it also expands our water resources. Back in March of 2022, California Department of Water Resources awarded the city a grant of over $6.3 million to install the ASR well system. In July of 2023, Council awarded a design contract to Carollo Engineers of Sacramento to design the project for us. And similar to our recently completed well number 2 project, the design calls for basically a two-phased construction. Phase 1, which we're dealing with tonight, is the actual well drilling. And phase 2 involves equipping the well with pumps and motors that will be sized based on data that's collected during the well drilling phase. In last December, Council approved the plans and specs for the phase 1 project. Okay, so after council approval, staff advertised the project for bids. The period was from December 20th through January 23. We received 3 bids, and NorCal Pump and Well Drilling of Yuba City is the low, responsible, and responsive bidder. It's interesting to point out that the low bid is approximately $175,000 less than the engineer's estimate, which is a welcome change in this current bidding climate. So I'll give kudos to the Carollo engineer team with Ludorf Scalmanini as the well designer, and our own project manager, William Zhao, has done a great job putting together a bid package that got us these nice bids. And it's also nice to have a local contractor, once again, submitting the low bid for us. Okay, fiscal impact. The estimated total construction cost is approximately $1.275 million. This includes a 10% contingency amount, which is a little bit lower than we typically would ask for on a construction project. The contingency would only be used if unforeseen conditions are encountered during construction. The reason we're not asking for more is that the well drilling phase is actually a pretty narrow scope of work, and we on the well number 2 project, it was a sufficient amount. So I'm comfortable with the $98,000 we're asking for there. I do need to apologize. In the staff report, I did not include the Carollo services during construction, and the reason I didn't is that we already included that in their previous award of the design contract. So that's already factored in. And then the staff time we've already budgeted for as well. Let's see. I do need to point out as well that the ASR account balance is $3.6 million. So we have plenty of money to do phase 1, but the phase 2 estimate right now at a 50% design level is roughly $7 million. We value engineered the heck out of that project, and that's as tight as we can get it. What that means, though, is that when we come forward with approval for plans and specs, and through this 25-26 CIP budget process, we are going to be making the necessary budget adjustments to fund that project. A quick note on environmental. The CEQA document for this project was an initial study and mitigated negative declaration. A pretty standard document for this a project of this complexity. We filed the document with the state clearinghouse and posted for public comments on December 17th. We only received 1 comment, and it was from the Regional Water Quality Control Board. They basically just notified us of various regulations and permits that are required for the project. With regards to the regulations, we've incorporated those into the contract. And with regards to the permits, we will apply for those and obtain those prior to operating the project. So staff has determined that no revisions are needed to the CEQA document, and we're recommending that you adopt it tonight. All right, with that, staff recommends adopting a resolution implementing items A and B as shown on this slide, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that council might have.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the council? All righty. Kevin, thank you for the work that you've done on this. This has been a long time coming, so thank you. Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Hearing none, I will bring it back to the council for action.
All right, through the mayor, I move to adopt a resolution which takes the following actions. Award a construction contract to NorCal Pump and Well Drilling Incorporated of Yuba City, California, in the amount of their total bid of $983,306, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city, subject to review and approval as to legal form by the city attorney, and adopt the initial study / mitigated negative declaration for the Aquifer storage and recovery well project.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Let's get it built. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item 12. This is the summary report from our special workshop that was held on January 29th. Ms. Langley, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So annually, the City Council has a goal-setting workshop. In previous years, they've identified the goals that kind of lead the decision-making process through as you're evaluating staff reports and making decision points. The goal-setting session for this year was last week, January 29th. This year was a little bit different in that we focused on the general fund budget and mobile vendors. At the workshop, Deanna Pope, our finance IT director, provided an overview of the general fund actuals for fiscal year 23-24, in which you can see that with the budget process, we had a net deficit of approximately $2.4 million. We had budget stabilization reserves available of $6.6 million. And so we used the budget stabilization reserves to make up that deficit. So we ended that fiscal year with approximately 4.2 available of the budget stabilization reserves. For the fiscal year 24-25 adopted budget, as you can see, we adopted a budget that showed a net deficit of $5.46 million, in which we are utilizing the remaining budget stabilization reserves, and we show a deficit of about $1.3 million. It's important to note that this is the adopted budget numbers. Often when we get into actuals, either the revenues are higher or the expenditures are lower, and traditionally we see some net savings there. I also want to note that this is in the budget document. If you go and you look at the city manager's message, if you look at where we were, we noted that we were adopting a budget that had a deficit of approximately $5.5 million. If you look at how the city's general fund monies are distributed, you can see that a large portion goes to public safety. So police is approximately 35.15%, and fire is approximately 27.19%. This public works number of just over $7 million, while it is general fund money, there's a corresponding transfer of road funds that come into the general fund budget to offset those costs. Ms. Pope also gave you a presentation on our other reserves and discretionary funds. So we have a Healthy Cities Reserve of about approximately $8 million, Vehicle Replacement Fund, and this is just the general fund portion of 6.585. It also takes into account leases that have already been approved by council through the general fund. We have a pension stabilization fund of approximately $4.46 million. Those funds have to be used towards pension costs, so they could not be used for other general fund expenditures, but they could be used to pay the pension bill and then thereby freeing up some of the other general funds. We also have general fund capital improvement program, approximately $2 million, and then she shows the reduction of the 1.29 of the budget stabilization reserves from this fiscal year, leaving a total reserve and discretionary balance of just under $20 million. So based on the city's current financial situation, I asked each department director to develop 5% and 10% reduction scenarios, which they presented last week. And the reduction scenarios take into account reducing material, services, and supplies, freezing vacant positions, reallocating resources. And what I mean by that is, for instance, in the police department, they would reallocate a homeless liaison officer to patrol. So the priority of the police department is to provide patrol services, and so they would reallocate resources as necessary to attain those budget savings. Another opportunities that we discussed were increasing revenues, and then also the fire chief, while his presentation focused on closure of fire station for a shorter period of time under the 5% scenario and a much longer period of time under the 10% scenario, his recommendation was to utilize the vehicle replacement fund to make up the difference. The action items that came from the workshop were at this meeting. We were going to recommend a policy for freezing of vacant positions. So Councilmember Pasquale and Councilmember Kirschner and I met yesterday and discussed that policy, which I'll be going into in a minute. At the February 18th council meeting, I'll be coming back with a recommendation for reductions that can be implemented pretty quickly, and a corresponding resolution for council to adopt those reductions and the corresponding changes in service to the public. As part of the 25-26 budget process, the department heads will recommend additional reductions for the budget ad hoc consideration, and then it'll come before the full council for consideration. And then as a separate and side note, in the discussion related to mobile vendors and development services, we'll bring back an item to initiate an ordinance to discuss additional controls to be placed on mobile vendors, similar to what we're seeing in surrounding agencies such as Sacramento County and Woodland. So the vacant position policy recommendation, so there's 4 slides associated with this. And so in general, freeze general fund positions that are not frontline safety. So I went through the existing list of vacant positions to just provide some examples of how this would be implemented. And so examples of this in community services, this would be freezing of vacant park maintenance worker 3, freezing of recreation coordinator, in development services, freezing plans examiner 1, 2, in fire, freezing a vacant fire inspector 1, 2. I will note that the intent would be to have the ability to fill the vacant fire marshal position and to maintain the current fire inspector. Based upon Chief Alexander's reduction scenarios, he may not be able to fill the fire marshal position, but that would be coming across through the budget process. Human resources would freeze a vacant administrative analyst. And then you can see in the police department, community policing coordinator, there's 3 vacant community service officers, 2 vacant public safety dispatchers, and there's currently 2, I believe 1 or 2 vacant records clerks. The recommendation for the public safety dispatchers is to maintain a minimum of 12, and we have 14 budgeted, and then for clerks, maintain a minimum of 5, and we have 6 budgeted. Just based upon these current vacant positions, if they were to remain frozen for approximately 1 year, that's about $1.2 million in savings just based on these positions. In terms of positions that would be filled, it would be general fund positions that are frontline safety. So examples of how this would be applied is for development services, a building inspector and a code enforcement officer. On fire, a firefighter position, and then for police officer positions. Phil Sutter Animal Services Authority positions. So Yuba City is part of a JPA that oversees Sutter Animal Services. So even though Ann is the director over CASA, there's a separate board for CASA, and just based upon the needs of CASA, the recommendation would be to fill those positions. Of the total cost, the city's portion of these positions is approximately 69%. In addition, fill non-general fund positions that have different funding sources, again, non-general funds. So examples of how the policies would be applied include water-funded positions, such as water distribution operators, water treatment plant operators, but this would also include the customer service rep at the finance counter, because the majority of those positions are funded through utilities. Wastewater funded positions, again, this is wastewater treatment plant operators, and there's also a maintenance supervisor position that's vacant. Mechanics are funded through an internal service fund in which all departments contribute to that. The mechanics have a very vital job of keeping our equipment and vehicles going, and so we recommend filling those. The engineers and engineering technicians, through the city's cost allocation plan, the engineers work on a variety of capital improvement program projects, and there's corresponding funding that's transferred into the department to pay for these positions, so they have a very small general fund component. And then there's also a project coordinator position that, again, has CDBG funding that funds a portion of the position, and then through the cost allocation plan, additional funding coming in from projects. So there's just a very small component of general fund money going towards these positions. So the recommendation that we're requesting from council tonight is to provide direction related to the vacant position policy. And then I'll be coming back on February 18th with the recommendations for some budget reduction items that can be implemented pretty quickly. Also, there were a lot of good ideas that came up related to increasing revenues. We're going to be engaging with the revenue ad hoc to start those discussions, and just to kind of give an idea of some of the options that were discussed. For people that come to the front counter to pay their utility bills or to pay for recreation programs, currently the city basically covers the cost of the credit card fees, and so that's something that could be transferred to the consumer. For utility customers that currently receive a paper bill, we're looking at encouraging people to go paperless, and so there might be a cost associated with receiving a paper bill. Development Services previously brought forward the idea of increasing their fees, and so they'll be bringing forward a recommendation to increase fees associated with entitlements and development. And so these are all on the table and will be vetted with the revenue ad hoc and then brought before council for consideration. So that I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Before we go to questions, Councilmember Pasquale, you were on the ad hoc with Councilmember Kirchner. Do you have anything to add to the process you guys went to about the freezing the positions?
No, we had lengthy discussions, Wade and Diana and myself, and we thought this was the best moving forward of what she completely hit it nail on the head of what we discussed. So I have nothing further to add to it.
All right. Any comments or questions from the council?
Yes, through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
First, Ms. Langley, I appreciate you and the staff doing basically a mid-year budget review, okay? This was, normal practice. It has been with the city for a while, where we take a look at, revenues and expenses. When this budget was developed, it was unknown whether or not Measure D would pass. We were obviously considering what those impacts would be, and it did not. And so this is just a normal course of business for the city to do a mid-year budget review and adjust very nimbly and pivot to those things that we can continue. To Councilmember Pasquale and Councilmember Kirchner, I'm sure and Ms. Langley, I'm sure this was not an easy decision. I've sat in these types of meetings before, but I applaud you for taking the time, the energy, and I know the due diligence to go about this in a manner that I fully support. And I know that there may be more of this as we move on down the road, but I do believe, and again, I just want to voice my support as we move forward for what you have proposed.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the council? None? I will just echo thanks for all the hard work and being nimble and quick at this, Mike and then Diana. It was, we had the meeting on Wednesday and came out of there and says, we're going to bring this Tuesday, so can you guys meet? So thank you for being nimble and addressing this. To the Vice Mayor's analysis, I mean, this is what we do every year. This is what people that run companies do every day of their lives. And, I've seen the I don't know if you want to call it, the social media posts and things out there with grabbing the very first slide you put up there with the $5 million, the $5 million deficit. That is $5 million if we stay on the course that we stay on. So what we're talking about doing is a mid-year adjustment and adjusting the course so that we stay within our means. And there's a lot more to come. This is going to be a road that we're going to be on for the next several months to get the budget together for next year. But we're up to the task. I think what you guys have brought forward as far as your recommendation is good. Because with that, these positions are vacant, so it's not a loss of any of our team members. This is simply do the best job we can with the resources we have. And as we've said multiple times, that has to be the mantra of the city going forward. So with that, I like what you guys have brought forward. And then on the 18th, that's when we'll get down into a little bit more of the nitty gritty. Am I correct?
Yes, so we will actually have specific recommendations for each department and corresponding service modifications, because as you know, as we are looking at right-sizing the budget, as we've heard from the public and the voters in terms of living within our means, that's the direction that we're going, but that means that we need to change the services that are provided to the community. And a lot of discussion related to reallocating resources, reducing material services and supplies, which then impacts things that we can do within the community, and then also how we provide service. And with that, there's not the ability to maintain the same service level that we have. And so those are things, there's a variety of items that are on the table. And again, it's the shorter term things that we can implement that we'll be bringing forward on the 18th. And then there's a long list of other items that are longer to implement that will be recommended through the budget process.
Correct, thank you. And looking at the bigger picture, because I know during the workshop, right out of the chute, one of the questions that came up was how did we get here? And I think the best way we can put this is single-digit increase in revenues and double-digit increase in inflation. So our costs just went right off the charts. So with that, if there's any other comments from the council, yes.
A quick one. I know that Sutter Animal Services Authority is not necessarily under our purveyance. However, we have representatives on there. I, for one, would like to hear from them, have them go through, a scenario that the same thing that our department heads are. Maybe they have already. I just haven't seen it if they are. So I know we have representatives on the board.
I'm on that.
And it just seems like it's fair.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah, we can request to place that on the board agenda. As we were specifically discussing CASA, when you look at the specific positions, so animal services officer, currently we have a vacant position. So there's 2 animal services officers that are serving the entire Sutter County community, and they are on call. And so it's a very difficult to provide the services and not wear these people, the 2 individuals, out. On kennel attendant is a position that's constantly vacant. Even when we fill it, we then have vacancies. And then the registered veterinarian technician, it's just extremely hard to find registered vet tech. So if anybody's looking for a career field, that's it, because it's extremely difficult to find vet techs. And so even though we're saying fill these positions, there's a very good possibility that the kennel attendant and the vet tech will stay vacant. With the animal services officer, we actually have a current employee that would be promoting into this position upon approval of the policy. And so, again, we're promoting somebody, so that's going to create a vacancy within CASA.
Definitely appreciate the explanation, and I definitely appreciate having previously served on CASA that, there are some challenges there. But again, everybody's having to take a look, and I don't know that we have tasked them to do the same thing that we've done with our department heads. It just seems fair to me. There may be nothing, but.
Right.
Through the mayor?
Yes, sir.
Is the ad hoc going to continue, or are my services done? Was that, just don't even know.
At this point, I believe it would be done because you've taken a look at that. I'll ask you this, if the need arises through the budgetary process, would you be willing to step back up if we reform?
Absolutely.
Then you're stood down then.
Okay.
So, all right. How about any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Hearing none, I will bring it back to council because we need to provide direction with what's been brought forward. So is the council in approval? Do we need a formal motion, Mr. Attorney, since there, or we just need direction?
You just need direction. So if there's at least 3 of you that can give direction, for example, to
Then
staff's recommendation.
is the council on board with the ad hoc's recommendation as far as which positions to freeze at this point?
Yes.
You've got 4 yeses up here.
Thank you. One thing that I do want to note is when we freeze positions, we will reach out to the bargaining units because that does impact the work. And so with this policy recommendation, we will fill the positions that have been noted and reach out to the bargaining units to address the positions that are recommended to be frozen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving along to agenda item 13. Future agenda items. This is the opportunity to discuss with the council and city mayor or city manager any items that came up in the meeting that you would like to have brought back to the council at a later date.
I would like to see CASA at our next meeting have a presentation.
Okay. Presentation from CASA. Anything else from the council? Okay. Ms. Langley, is there anything you would like specifically brought back? Okay. So if we could have a presentation from CASA, maybe considering the budget reduction, that would be great. Let's move on to reports and communications. We'll start off with the city manager's report.
I do not have anything to report this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to council reports. Councilmember Cole.
Okay, so upon commission assignments, I got to attend the first CASA meeting, which was last Monday, and Michael graciously accepted chair of that. So first official meeting for a committee, and then second was able to go to a meeting, or I guess an unofficial meeting with John Corliss and Mark and Carm Baines to learn a little bit more about SACOG. And then in addition to that, just something I'd like to give some gratitude to. I don't know if Jesse's still on the line or can hear me, but I really applaud all that you're doing with fire. I got to do a ride along with Fire Station 3, and these guys are just top notch, and very, very grateful for Eric and the work that they're doing with just so much character and integrity. Just good guys over there all around, so grateful.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I have nothing to add other than what was brought up with my attendance in CASA and such. So with that, I'll conclude my report.
All righty, thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As mentioned previously, we had the goal session, and I just want to again, all those that were in the room, I think it was a good meeting. Good sharing of information that needed to get out so that people heard the real story, and sets the stage for how we are doing our mid-year budget reviews. As Councilmember Cole mentioned, she and I, Carm Baines, met with SACOG's executive director. His ask of us at the time was priorities, and I worked with Diana and Ben Moody in regards to historically what are some of the things that the city has been working with the Sacramento Area Council of Government, which is SACOG. One is the continuation of the bike lane through Sutter County. Another that I raised, and I know that we've chatted about it here, was a traffic signalize the intersection at El Margarita and Highway 20 by the high school. We also raised the concern of a enhanced signal at Bogue and Highway 99, especially with the Bogue-Stewart Master Plan underway or soon to be underway. We talked about traffic calming throughout several areas that were in the city. I am going to hand carry a map of our Tierra Buena area, which is in District 2, of course. We had a Tierra Buena ad hoc committee. I unfortunately was not able to attend that by my own mistake. However, I'm going to seek some expertise on our behalf as a council in my position as rep on SACOG with those folks down there. I don't expect that they're going to do any work, but they could point us in the direction of some help. And also, again, push forward on the SACOG mini grants. The funding process for the state funds is coming forward. Mini grants are a lower amount of grants that are pretty nimble and things that the city can do relatively inexpensively. Not that anything with traffic or streets anymore is inexpensive, but I've asked the executive director to appoint me more in the direction. I know our peers over in Marysville have recently been awarded one of those. So things like pedestrian safety, crosswalks, and such. So that concludes my report. Oh, I do have one thing. Today I got the grand joy of driving to the Bay Area and back. I would just say, and I'm not defending the city of Yuba City, our roads in some circumstances are far better than those in communities like Daly City, Redwood City, et cetera, and the highways. So everybody seems to be in that position of trying to figure out, how to fund roads. The state's gas tax just does not do it.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, and I would absolutely concur how bad they are down there. I'm going to summarize real quick because we still have closed session. Been a busy couple of weeks. We had a planning session with the with GSEC, Greater Sacramento Economic Council. Mike Pasquale and myself did, and out of that, looking potentially going forward with some type of long-term economic strategic plan that they would be helping with. Attended the city selection committee and always rotates around. So Live Oak is actually the alternate from the city selection this time on LAFCO. Terra Buena ad hoc, we did bring all that forward. We basically had a thought process to where we really took as a group a look at the whole Terra Buena area and the possibilities. And we've asked our ad hoc committee to go back, and we're going to get together in about another 3 to 4 weeks. And we told them just take Google Earth, Google Maps, start looking at it, start coming back with ideas. Because the answers may be in the proposals it's been, but it may not even be on a proposal yet. So that's the approach we're taking right now, and it encompasses not just what was around Hooper and the frontage road in El Margarita, but looking at Terra Buena School, Arroyo Ranchero, Butte House, the whole area there. Council workshop, we just talked about that. I just want to say for the council workshop, to our E-team, thank you for bringing forward what was asked. I know it wasn't easy, and you guys put a hell of a lot of work into it. I think we all heard each other's hearts that day of what we're trying to do, and we will work together and come out even better on the backside of this. So to the E-team, thank you. To the labor groups, I have spent a lot of time the last few weeks meeting with everybody and getting ready for that meeting. And I just want to say I appreciate your candidness and your openness to work together, again, because it's going to take us all to get to solutions. Let's see where we at. Did interviews with KOVR and KFBK on Pioneer, and they seem to grab some pretty good traction. And then the last is, I think we kind of had an impromptu outreach ad hoc, didn't we, Mike? Meeting. We just got on the phone and said, hey, what do you think about this? We're going to start rolling out different things. So you'll start hearing from various ones of us on the council and the city, getting the right information out. We've got a lot of good ideas that we found out there that hopefully we'll bring forward. The funniest one that I really like it, I'm just going to throw it out there, found on another city's webpage, goes back to our council workshop. Rumor has it. That seems to be our Achilles heel. Rumor has it. And it's very simple. You point them there and it's like, hey, Mark, rumor has it you own the CASA, or you own the Kmart building. Is that right? You just address it in a couple of sentences. No, you don't, but things like that are continually done. And so we're going to be working to try to get some of that stuff up there, because I tell you, we run into that all the time. So with that, we got a busy few weeks ahead of us here, and we need to go into closed session. So Mr. Chaffin, can you update us on what we're going into closed session about?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are 2 items in closed session this evening. The first one is item A, public employee employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The title is City Manager. Item B is threats to public services or facilities pursuant to Government Code Section 54957A, consultation with City Manager and City Attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any comments from the public on the agenda items for closed session? Any comments from the public? Hearing none, we will move into closed session.